Yeah, others
Yeah,
is not joining.
I see.
So just
Okay,
two of us actually.
sure.
Um, all right. So yeah, it's recorded now. Okay. All right. So just like what I told you a while ago, today we're going to continue the discussion for ISO 9001 2015 lead auditor training. All right. So let me publish the slide. So last week actually we talked about um the terms and definitions that is important to know related to quality. We also talk about the benefits, the importance of implementing a quality management system, as well as the requirements for accreditation and certification. Also, we discussed the seven management principles. These principles are very important in implementing the management system because the descriptions of each principle, the rationale of why the principle is important for the organization, uh, can improve the organization's performance. I hope you still remember those principles that we have discussed last week. Can you give some
Yes.
examples, some principles, Madam Khulud, Madam Zara?
Leadership, improvement, relationship management,
Right, exactly.
mm,
Anything else?
and customer. I think customer concentration, customer focus.
Customer focus, right. Ms. Khulud, any other principles?
Engagement of a people process approach,
Exactly. And
um, evidence-based decision was I think or
right, exactly. Evidence-based decision making. All right. So, organization can actually use these principles, okay, in implementing a management system to improve their quality management system. Remember, class, that this principle applies to any other international standards, no, not only about quality. So these principles can also apply to environmental management system, to occupational health and safety management system, information security, and any other international standards that we can implement in the organization. And remember also that this management system is based on the plan, do, check, act methodology. All right. So when we talk about PDCA, this is a cycle for continuous improvement. And we do have 10 clauses for this international standard, starting from clause number one, the scope, okay, the normative references, the terms and definition, context of the organization, leadership, planning, support, operation, performance evaluation, and improvement. Okay. Last week we completed the fourth clause, which is the context of the organization. And when we talk about context of the organization, this is referring to the business environment. Okay, this is the combination of the internal and external factors or conditions that can affect on a organization's approach to its products, to its services, okay, and investment, as well as the interested parties. In class 4.1 class, this is understanding the organizations and its context, right? Do you still remember the requirements here? So when you audit this clause, what are the relevant documentation that you should look for? Any idea?
Again, what was the question?
Yeah, in auditing this clause 4.1, understanding the organization in its context, what documented information or what documents you should look for? What documents you should look for? Any idea?
The document related to the organization or the company. Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Right. So example of documents are related to this clause. You may need to look at the business planning strategy. So those documents. You may wanted to look for the SWOT
Like for the
analysis.
project, يعني method statement, material submittal.
Okay, so those things to understand the environment of the organization could be the method statement as supporting documents. Okay, the SWOT analysis, the strength, the weakness, the
Yeah,
opportunities.
the performance as well, the budgeting, the
Exactly. All right, so that is for the clause 4.1. So all of these issues in the organization, okay, needs to be reviewed and monitored. Okay, how is this issues being implemented in the organization? Additionally, okay, when we talk about the business environment, this is how the organization is, operating. Like, say, for example, does the organization have vision? Does the organization have mission? All right, what is the purpose of the organization? You may wanted to check and assess that in the organization's management system. Okay. In clause 4.2, just like what we discussed last week, this is all about understanding the needs and expectation of interested parties. Okay, so in every organization class, uh, we have interested parties internally and externally. Okay, so internally we have top management, we have employees. All right. So externally, we have clients, we have supplier, we have subcontractor, contractors, the government bodies, the regulatory and statutory agencies. So these are all an example of interested parties. In the requirements of the international standard is to determine those relevant interested parties in the organization and to understand also their requirements. Okay, and of course how the organization is monitoring and reviewing those requirements of the interested parties. So as an auditor, okay, you may wanted to check and assess the records or documents of interested parties. Like, say, for example, it could be listed in a document where this parties are included. It could be in the quality manual. Okay, and specifically you have to include the interested parties' needs and expectation. Right? And then of course, we also talk about the scope of the management system. And the definition of the scope of the management system is that this is the boundaries and applicability of the quality management system. And when you are defining the scope of the quality management system, you need to consider those issues that you have identified in clause 4.1, as well as the requirements of the relevant interested parties. Okay, your products, your services, and the scope needs to be documented in any form. Okay, so when you are doing an audit, okay, it is important to look for the documented scope of the management system. Okay, because the requirement is that it should be maintained as documented information. So if the organization did not document this, you can raise this as a non-conformity. Either this is a minor non-conformity or a major non-conformity. Okay, in the clauses of the international standard also, okay, you can exclude if that requirement is not applicable to your process. Like say for example, um, there are services where there is no design and development. You know, for example, a trading company. Okay, when you do wholesale or trading of an equipment, design and development may not be applicable to your process. Unlike for construction industry, right? In construction industry, Miss Kulud, we have a design, right? We have drawings and all. So these are all applicable for construction industry. Even in manufacturing industry, you know, like say for example, if they manufacture water bottles. So they may need to design the size of the bottle, what would be the color of the bottle, how it would look like, things like this. Okay, then design and development is applicable. So if there is no applicability of a certain management system requirements, then that needs to be documented also in the scope of the management system. All right, so that is the requirements for clause 4.3. All right, any question?
No, for now.
All right, now the last clause for the context of the organization is the processes of the organization. Okay, so it is important that the organization to establish, implement, maintain, and improve the processes needed and their interaction. And the requirement is that this needs to be maintained and retained as documented information. So in each function of the organization, we have processes. You know, like say for example, last week we gave an example of an HR process as a process in the organization. So we have human resources process, and within HR we have sub processes. You know, like so for example, it could be a recruitment process, training and development process, onboarding process, competency development process, employee performance process, visa process. What else? Even offboarding process. So there are a lot of processes in each of the function of the organization. Even in procurement, for example, you know, procurement process, and we have sub processes under procurement: supplier registration, supplier evaluation, supplier selection, and then supplier performance evaluation. So those things. All right. So it is important actually that all of these processes are documented. Okay, either in a form of a procedure, in a guidelines document, or in a work instructions. Okay, and as an organization also, there should have a retained documents and information supporting the implementation of those documentation. If you have a procedure, what would be the evidence of implementing that procedure in a form of a records, for example? All right, so that is all about this processes. Okay, for example, in IT process, you know, there are a lot of sub processes in IT. In which process you're handling, Madam Zara, in your company? Which process you're handling? Customer service process, right?
Yes.
Okay, customer service process. So in the customer service process, I believe you do have a procedure for customer service. So if you do have a procedure for customer service, okay, so during the audit, okay, as an auditor, you may wanted to look at the procedure of customer service. All right, so check the procedure and then how the employees or how the organization is implementing that procedure. And then you can look for supporting evidences. That is now the records. So you maintain that process in a form of a procedure, And then you may need to look for the records of that process. So that is maintained and retained documented information. Okay, now in here, this is a sample process model representing the input as a customer requirements. Okay, we have here the process or the operations, and we have the outputs. Like say for example here, okay, there is a customer requirements to to build a building, in construction industry. So the clients give you all the inputs for you to have a to build a building. And then once the organization understand all of these inputs, okay, so the sales team is coordinating with the clients. Sales team will communicate the requirements of the clients to the operations department. Okay, so this is basically the core processes of the organization. This is supported, of course, by the management team. Okay, and during the management processes, of course, there is planning, management, controlling, analyzing, improvement. Okay, and of course, we have the supporting processes, to ensure that the operation is being conducted. So during the building of the equipment, you have a different function helping you to do that requirements of the customers. So you have HR to process the requirements of the employees. We have purchasing to do purchase. We have financial department to do about accounts payable, accounts receivable, IT to ensure that all the computers of the staff working on a project are working. Okay, and then of course internal and external communication. So depending on your organization's structure, of course there are other departments and function working together to help the company to build a building. And of course, once this is completed, you have now the customer satisfaction. Okay, this is now the output of the management system. If the customer receive the requirements, the project is turned over, the building is turned over to the client, and they are satisfied with your service, with your products provided into them, and if they are happy, that means customer satisfaction. All right, so that is an example of a process. All right, so here is another sample processes in the organization. Okay, so this is the overall requirements of clause 4.1. Okay, context of the organization. So as an auditor class, it is important that when you are auditing the company, you should understand their business environment. Okay, what are their issues and internal issues, who are the interested parties, the scope of the management system, as well as the processes and their interaction. Okay, so that is the clause for context of the organization. All right, so it's very important to know and understand their processes. Is there a question with this clause?
No.
Okay, very good.
No,
Now,
it's so good.
so let us do the exercises. I hope you do have the printout of the exercises now. Okay, so I want you to please.
Can you give me like 5 or 10 minutes? Because
Okay.
actually I had an issue with logging into my account yesterday, and I just received the PDFs by email from the council. So I will print them and come back maybe.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so
Okay.
while waiting,
Is it fine for Lud?
yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, for sure. It's
Yeah,
fine.
sorry. Thank you so much. Thank you, dear.
Exactly.
No problem. Okay,
okay.
so what we can do now, we can continue the discussion now, or
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll continue the discussion while waiting for this to be printed, yeah?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now,
I think we can give Zahra like a 5 minute, so she will not miss anything.
that is true. Okay then. So let's
Yeah,
wait for
thank
Zara.
you, dear.
Okay, so 10 minutes, Miss Zara will have a short break and then we
Yeah,
can
okay.
continue. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello.
All right, so hello. Everyone is okay now?
I am back.
Okay. All right, so shall we continue the discussion? Ms. Zara, you're okay now with the printout?
Your voice is not clear again.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Hi, can everyone hear me?
Hello.
Yes, Madam Zara, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Now
Okay.
I can hear, but
All right. Now, let us continue the discussion for leadership, okay? And then we
I
will
can
have,
hear you, but it keeps.
your line is choppy also, Madam Zara. Miss Kulud, can you hear me? Hello, Miss Kulud? Miss Maria, can you hear me, please? Madam Zara, you can hear me now? Okay, I think Miss Maria can hear me now. What about Miss Zara, Miss Kulud?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Sir RJ.
Okay, great. What about Miss Zara? Miss Kulud, are you there? I'm not sure if they can hear me. Just a minute. Zara just went. Okay, Zara's there. Hello, Miss Zara. Miss Zara, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello, Miss Zara. You can hear me now? I'm not sure why Zara can't hear me. Zara, can you join? Can you please try to join again? Miss Maria, you can hear me clearly, right? I'm not sure if Miss Kulud can hear me because she's muted.
For me, it's clear, Sir RJ. It's
Ah,
Yeah,
good.
I can hear you also.
you can hear me also, Miss Kulud.
Yeah, I
Okay,
can hear you now.
okay, very good. So I think Zara just log out and then she will come back again. Some technicalities issue, I guess. Let's just wait for her.
Okay.
All right. So, Ms. Zara, I think you joined already. So, can you hear me now? All right. So, Ms. Zara, are you there now? Still, I cannot hear Zara. Hello, Ms. Zara. I'm not sure if Zara can hear me. Um,
Hello?
Hi, Ms. Zara. Hello. Ms. Zara, we can hear you, but I'm not sure if you can hear me actually.
Hello?
Yeah. Hi, Zara. Can you hear me now? We
Still
can.
the voice is not that clear.
It's not clear. What about you, Miss Khulud? Ms. Maria, can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, we can.
You can hear me. Maybe there is a technical
Now I can hear you well.
okay, so you can hear me now. All right. So let's continue the discussion for the class number 5, and then we will have the exercises. Okay. The next class for the ISO 9001 2015 is leadership. Okay. So when we talk about leadership class, you know, leaders in the
I
organization.
will check my connection is really good. What is the issue? Wait. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear. Hello, Zara.
Yeah. Now I hear it clearly, and I see the screen, the share
Okay.
screen.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Just like what I'm saying a while ago, Ms. Zara. Okay. We will discuss the next class, which is leadership. Okay. When we talk about leadership class, okay, this refers to the top management of the organization. And as a top management, you know, these leaders should establish a unity of purpose and direction, you know, to the organization. And they should create and maintain the internal environment in which people can become fully involved in achieving the organization's objectives. And in this clause, okay, we have the leadership and commitment. So the top management of the organization, that means, you know, the leaders of the company, could be the CEO, could be the managing director, could be the general manager, or could be the, you know, department heads or department managers of the organization, to demonstrate their leadership and commitment, okay, to the quality management system, because they have the responsibility, they have the accountability for the effectiveness of the management system. And as a manager, okay, this leadership and commitment can be manifested through, direction. You know, they should set direction to the organization. Okay, of course, ensuring that the quality policy, the quality objectives of the organizations are established. Okay, and this should be compatible to the context and the strategic direction of the organization. Right, of course, it is important that roles and responsibilities are defined. Okay, it is documented. And then, of course, resources required for an organization to be provided. So what are those resources? It could be manpower, it could be competency, it could be building and infrastructure, and other resources required for the implementation of the quality management system. Internal and external communication is very important also. Okay, and then of course, communicating with your customer. Okay, so it is important that internal audit is conducted, management review is carried out, okay, and of course, continuous improvement to be implemented in the organization. Now, when you are doing an audit, Miss Maria, Miss Kalud, and Ms. Zara, to the top management, okay, you may wanted to assess, audit the organization whether all of these things are manifested unto them. Like say, for example, you may need to check whether there is a quality policy established in the company. And if this is not established, okay, then you can raise a non-conformity. Okay, you need to assess whether the top management of the company are, providing the resources. Does the top management included in the internal audit? You may wanted to check the records of internal audit. You may wanted to check also the records of the management review, whether, in the minutes of the meeting, the top management attended the meeting. Okay, so this is very important, okay, in the organization, to ensure that, the system is in place in the organization. Okay, so again, you may do an interview with the top management to understand how they are, committed to the implementation of the management system. Another clause for the leadership is the clause 5.1.2. This is customer focus. Okay, again, just like what we have discussed a while ago for the quality principles, okay, there should have a focus to our customer. Okay, because if we don't have a customer, we don't have business. Okay, so we need to understand their requirements. We need to meet their requirements. Okay, and of course, to continually met their requirements. So when you are auditing this clause, you may wanted to go through and assess the implementation of the management system of the organization. Okay, check how they are focusing to the requirements of the customer. So was there a customer complaint process? Okay, how they are addressing the customer complaint? Was there a customer satisfaction survey conducted to the customer? And check those relevant documentation and records available, okay, to the organization. So example of the evidences, okay, documents that you should look for when you are auditing this clause, of course, is the customer complaint procedure or customer complaint document, okay, and then of course the customer satisfaction survey. All right, so there should have a customer satisfaction. Another clause is the policy, the quality policy. So what is quality policy for you, Ms. Kulud?
Quality policies as like the approach, okay, to reach the quality objective for an organization, like to reach the requirement like that.
Exactly. All right. So to elaborate that further, class, okay, when we talk about policy, okay, as per the standard, this is the overall intention and direction of the organization as expressed by the top management when it comes to quality. So maybe you have observed in your organization the one-page quality policy statement. This may be published in the strategic location of your company, may be published in the website of the company. All right, so this policy is the overall intention, provided by the top management, because this is what they wanted to achieve in the organization. Okay, so having the quality policy of the company, when you are establishing a policy, it is important that the top management to ensure that the policy statement is appropriate to the purpose and context of the organization. In this support the strategic direction of the company. Like say for example, what the company aimed for, what is the products and services that they provide. Okay, and of course, in the policy statement clause, it should provide a framework for setting equality objectives. Like say for example, in a policy statement, you are committed to ensure customer satisfaction. That is one of the statements that the top management have included in the policy. Now, with this policy statement, that should provide a framework for setting an objective. Okay, like so for example, what would be the lead time for customer complaint? Okay, so that can be an objective related to customer satisfaction. Okay, so there should have a commitment also to satisfy applicable requirements, whether this is a statutory requirements or this is a regulatory requirements. And of course, in the policy statement, there should have a commitment, okay, for continual improvement to the quality management system of the organization. And of course, the policy of the company should be available and maintained as documented information. That means, okay, there should have a controlled document where the policy statement is documented, okay, and of course, this shall be communicated to all and understood within the organization and should be available to all parties of the company. Okay, so how do we communicate the policy? You may wanted to publish the approved policy in your website. You may wanted to post the policy, in the company bulletin board. You may wanted to discuss the policy during induction training, during toolbox talk, okay, or during the awareness session of the company. All right, and when you are auditing this class, it is important to check all of those items, because if any of this requirement is not included to the policy statement and there is no implementation, then you as an auditor can raise a finding, okay, can raise a non-conformity for not implementing the requirements of the standard. So that is the quality policy. Now, let us have an exercise. Okay, so I wanted you to please go through to the exercises for the quality policy. Okay, I hope you have the printout already, Ms. Zara.
Yes.
Okay, now I want you to open the exercises for quality policy. Okay, the exercise number 4. Okay, and as you can see in here, all right, we have a quality policy. Let's imagine that you, Maria, Ms. Khulud, and Ms. Zara is auditing the company named Katibing Establishment. Okay, so you are auditing this company. And now you are assessing the documents for quality policy. Okay, so your auditee presented you their policy statement. Okay, and this is their policy statement. Okay, so I want you to go through with the policy statement and check, okay, study this, okay, whether the policy statement meets the requirements of the international standard for clause 5.2. Okay, and I want you to write your findings here. Okay, like say for example, One requirement of the policy statement is that it should be appropriate, right? It should be appropriate to the purpose and context of the organization. So I wanted you to assess the policy statement of Katibing's establishment, whether each of these requirements are complied with. And if it is, okay, or if it's not, then you need to write your answer, okay, in the space provided, okay, here, and the second page of the paper. Okay, so I want you to do this for 15 minutes. Okay, this policy statement auditing, and then we will discuss. Okay, so is it clear, Miss Kulud, Miss Azara,
I
and
think so.
Maria?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I want you to study the policy of Katibings and write your findings on the second page of the paper, and then we will discuss. Okay?
We have to highlight where they cover it from the policy and the quality
Exactly.
management system. That's
Right.
it.
Yes, you need to highlight whether it is met or not. And then, of course, here, as you can see, okay, we have the number. Okay, so number one, findings. Appropriate to the context of the organization. If this is a meeting, you need to write, okay, how is it met? Okay, what is the statement from here that says that, the requirement is met? And what is the clause reference? For the clause reference, okay, we have in the standards. Okay, I hope you do have the copy of the standard also. All right?
Yeah, they are just two under the policy.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. So for 15 minutes, okay, we will check this. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, so finish, Miss Khulud, Miss Zara.
Yes, here.
Okay.
It's almost.
All right, now let us discuss the quality policy statement. All right, now first let us understand, okay, the policy statement. So let us first read, okay, the policy statement. So for example, okay, your auditor gave you a policy like this because you asked the copy of the policy. Okay, so in here, Katibing's establishment policy is expressed as follow. Okay, we are absolutely committed to fully meet or exceed customers' requirements as specified in ITB RFQ by effective communications, okay, project planning and control, fabrication, and easily accessible advice on operation and maintenance of wastewater treatment plants and systems. We shall design such integrated continual improvement programs that will ensure the quality of our wastewater treatment plants and systems and benefit all concerned, but not limited to clients, subcontractors, suppliers, and users alike. So we are committed to quality through our guiding principles to improve customer satisfaction by providing them with a high quality products or service that meets or exceed their requirements, such as on-time delivery, okay, conformance to satisfy applicable requirements, and continually seek to improve the effectiveness of the quality management system and its performance through annual review of our QMS policy and objectives to ensure continuing suitability of the system. And our top management is committed to provide and support, okay, the resources appropriate to the purpose, the nature, and scale of our company for satisfying the requirements and intent of the ISO 9001-2015. And the quality policy of the company is duly signed and displayed at all the required locations and communicated to every level. Okay, managing director, Katibing establishment. Now, my question is that if your auditee, okay, presented you this quality policy statement, what is your comment? Overall comment, Ms. Zara. Or Ms. Khulud, anyone? What is your overall comment when they presented you this policy?
I'm not sure, but I think they cover the policy, the establishment of the quality policy and the communication. Yeah, not all the points, but almost they cover it. I don't know if I'm right or wrong.
Okay, all right, sure. Now, say for example, okay, you are now assessing the requirements of the quality policy. Okay, so it's written as this. So let us assess one by one the requirements of the standard. The first requirement is that it should be appropriate to the purpose and context of the organization, and it should support its strategic direction. Do you think this policy statement, clause 5.21a meets the requirements here in the policy of Katibings?
Which sentence you was reading?
Okay, so here, as you can see, okay, we have here the requirements appropriate to the purpose and context of the organization. Okay, now if we go back to the policy statement of the company, okay, do you think that that requirement, okay, meets here in the policy statement? Appropriate to the context of the organization. Is it meeting or no? Do you think it meets the requirement?
I
Anyone?
think so, because they covered at the beginning, we are absolutely commitment to fully meet or exceed the customer requirements, etc.
Okay, which
By effective communication project.
So which statement from the policy saying that it is appropriate to the context of the organization?
That 5.2 will establish the quality policy.
Okay, which
5 to 1.
statement here in the policy statement?
Commitment to continue improvement of the quality management system.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm covering the exactly quality management system document because I could not see the slides.
Okay, can you see the slides now? There is 2 documents that I am presenting right now. I have
only one document.
One document shows there.
Yeah, only the exercise 4.
Okay, let me just check again. How can I present like this? Mhm. Okay, now here. All right, so can you see this now? So I have here the finding. Okay, and I have here the policy statement. Okay, now we have the requirements appropriate to the purpose of the organization. Okay, if we go back to the policy statement of Katibing establishment, we can see, all right, that it is stated here, okay, that as specified in ITB RFQ, by effective communications, project planning and control, fabrication, and easily accessible advice on operation and maintenance of wastewater treatment plants and system. So we can see that these requirements, 5.2.1a of the appropriate to the purpose of the organization meets the policy statement versus the standard requirements, because we can see here, okay, the products and services of the organization, what they wanted to happen, so that is about context of the organization. All right, if we go to the next requirements related to framework for quality objectives, remember there is a second requirement about when you set a policy as per the standard, it should provide a framework for setting equality objectives. So if we read the statement of the policy, we can see there, we are committed to quality through guiding principles. Improve customer satisfaction by providing them with high quality service that meet and exceed the requirement, such as on-time delivery. So out of this statement given by the managing director of Katibing establishment, we can, set an objective out of this, related to customer satisfaction, related to on-time delivery. Okay, so we can set a KPI, we can set a target for this commitment, for these objectives. Okay, of course, continually seek to improve the effectiveness of the quality management system and its performance, continual improvement. So basically, the requirements of providing, okay, a framework for quality objective is met. All right, another requirement, it should include, okay, a commitment to comply requirements. So if we see, okay, if we go through to the policy statement of Katibings, okay, we can see there in the statement, for example here, our top management is committed to provide, okay, support and resources appropriate to the purpose to the nature and the scale of the company for satisfying the requirements and intent of ISO 9001-2015. So this requirement met again the ISO 9001 standards. Okay, continual improvement. We can see that also from the policy statement about continually seek to improve the effectiveness. Yeah. Another requirements through annual review of the quality management system and objective. This is also written in the policy. You know, maintenance of the documented information, communication. Okay, and understood in the organization. You know, whether the policy is displayed, you may wanted to check this. You know, whether the policy was displayed in the bulletin board, is this published in the website, whether there is any records of training conducted about the policy. All right. And then of course be available to relevant interested parties. You know, it's written in the policy about, you know, but not limited to clients, subcontractors, suppliers, and the user alike. Okay, so if we can go ahead and take a look at the policy statement, we can say that the statement complies to the requirements of the standard. All right. So we can see here that all of these requirements of policy, okay, are included, okay, in the statement of Katibing establishment. But then, if your auditee gave you a policy statement like this, okay, you may wanted to go through and check also the other points, okay, whether is this signed, because the policy is not signed by the managing director. We can see that in this policy there is no signature, right? Remember that the policy should be available. It should be maintained as documented information. That is the requirement. But if the policy was not signed by the managing director and they showed you like this a policy, then you can raise a non-conformity. But remember also that nowadays, because of the innovations in technology, e-signature is
Digital
accepted as well.
signature.
Yeah, so it's accepted as well. You know, like so for example, through email, the managing director approved the policy, even if there is no signature, but he approved via email, then that is also applicable. All you have to do as an auditor is to verify further where the policy was approved by the managing director. Okay, any question, any clarification about the exercise for quality policy?
The exam will be in the same way?
So basically in the examination, it's a enumeration type, it's a explanation, okay, and then they will assess you based on your familiarity with the international standard. Okay, but in this exercise, this will be applicable when you are implementing already, when you are doing the actual audit, because you need to compare the standard requirements and the documents available during your audit. Okay. Any question? Any other clarification? Ms. Zara, all clear?
Yeah. I think we need also another examples.
Yes, sure. Okay, so we will have some more documents, okay, to be assessed. You know, for example, another policy. Okay, let me show you that policy. For example, let me give you another example of equality policy. Okay, so here we have a quality policy of the company. Okay, so you are auditing a construction company, for example, and they gave you this policy statement. Okay, so when you are assessing the quality policy statement, you need to check the requirements of the standard. So you have the copy of the standards, look, check each one if this complies to the standard. So the first requirement, is this appropriate to the purpose and context of the organization? And we can see here clearly, okay, that it is, provided, because here they said providing contracting services. Remember the requirements for context of the organization about your products and services. Yeah, what is the issues of the organization? And it's written here, their products, their service, about contracting services, meeting the customer requirements and future expectation. Okay, next requirement.
The document is not showing.
It's not showing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like opening, but it's not showing. If you can restart it.
This one, I'm sorry. This is the another quality policy of a company. Okay, and if you are auditing this again, okay, in the clause of the requirements, appropriate to the context of the organization. So this is the products and services, and it's meeting already because it's clearly written here, their service. Okay, another requirement is providing a framework for setting quality objectives. So is that written in the policy? Can we see that here about objectives? What do you think? Does the policy provides a framework in setting in objectives?
Yeah. Yeah, yes, right. They are provide the framework for setting quality objective.
Exactly. So we can see here, right? They can prepare, they can set an objective out of this policy related to what? Continuous improvement, training and development. Like, so for example, when it comes to training and development,
also maintain a quality management. Third one.
It's meeting, right? For example, how can we provide the objective related to training and development? What objective, what KPI, what targets we can set out of this training and development? For example, an objective of ensuring competency of the staff. All right, so what is our target? Our target for this year is to ensure that, for example, the staff in customer service attended customer service training. Okay, so that is your target, before end of the year. So you can set an objectives related to training and development because of that. All right, another requirements of the policy. It should include a commitment to satisfy applicable requirements. Can you check the policy if this is clearly included there? Where is it?
Yeah, it is mentioned.
Where?
521C.
Okay, so here, third one, right? So develop, implement, communicate, and continually maintain a quality management system in compliance with applicable requirements. Meaning there is a commitment from this organization, okay, to meet and satisfy any requirements, whether the requirements is statutory requirements, whether this is regulatory requirements, whether this is legal requirements, or a customer requirements, or any requirements agreed by the organization to implement. Okay, any applicable requirements. So we can see here that it is meeting. What about commitment to continual improvement? Is it meeting? Are they committed to continual improvement, where we can see that in the policy statement?
Yeah, they
Commitment
mentioned continual be what is
Continue improvement by engaging
or is that
the before maybe the fifth
promote
an
ethos
ethos of
improving.
continuous improvement.
very good? Okay, so they have the commitment to promote an ethos of continuous improvement. You know how they will do this? By engaging all the employees, okay, during the quality management planning and review process. So we can see that, you know, the company is committed to continual improvement. All right. Now, another requirement, the policy should be available and maintained as documented information. So how can we assess this? This policy itself, you know, when they presented you the policy, that is a policy that is documented. That is the policy that is maintained. Now, moving forward, when they presented you this policy, you need to check whether the policy has been signed by the GM, or say, for example, the policy is not signed. Maybe they electronically approved the policy. You know, like, say, for example, the GM signed the policy via email. That's the auditor told you. Now, you as an auditor may need to further check and assess that. Okay, can you show me the approval email coming from the general manager that the policy has been formally approved? Okay, that is another records that you wanted to verify whether the policy has been approved. Does the policy is controlled document? Okay, so there is a requirements about controlling the documents. You may wanted to check whether the policy has reference number, when is the effective date of the policy, what is the revision of the policy, you know, satisfying the requirements of control of documents. Okay, now another requirements of policy is that, you know, it shall be communicated. It should be understood and applied by the organization. How you will assess this? How you will assess that the policy is communicated? Any idea?
To be available, I think.
How is it communicated? What evidences you should look for as an auditor to see and assess that it is communicated? Whether
maybe by interviewing or
The first point, encourage our clients to provide us with honest feedback. Like they are communicating.
All right. So you can interview your auditee. You know, like, say, for example, you wanted to interview a staff, okay, about the policy of the organization, how they understand this. Okay, so maybe you can do a random sampling audit. Or let's say, for example, you're auditing procurement officer. So you ask him, okay, like, sir, can you please tell me your understanding about the policy of your company? Okay, through interview, you can ask them a question like this. Or you can also see whether the policy statement is posted in the notice board, in the bulletin boards. Or another example is that you may wanted to check the policy of the company, you know, published in the website. Or this policy statement is one of the topics being discussed during induction training. You know, during the training awareness session conducted in the organization. Or say, for example, how is this, you know, available to a relevant interested parties? You know, asking your clients, your you know, visitors, you know, informing them about your policy, about their feedbacks to the policy of the organization. Okay, so that's how you audit the clause 5.2, quality policy. All right, so is it clear now how you will do an audit in the actual documents presented to you?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, so that is the requirement of clause 5.2. Again, just to summarize these requirements, okay, the policy statement of the company should be established by the top management. Okay, so it should be coming from the head of the organization. Okay, normally we can see this in the bulletin boards, a one-page document, for example, or in the wall of the company, we can see this. Did you notice this in your company, Ms. Kalud, Ms. Zara? You notice somewhere a policy in the company displayed?
Yes, yes, we have it. It's
You-
also communicated,
Okay, very good.
shared, yeah.
Truly. So when you go back to your company, you may wanted to check that policy if that satisfy to the requirements of ISO 9001 2015. Yeah. Okay. So that is all about clause 5.2. Now, another clause in leadership is the organizational roles, responsibilities, and authorities. Now, what is the requirements of this clause? Okay, so the top management, okay, shall ensure that the responsibilities and authorities for relevant roles are assigned. It should be communicated and understood. Okay, and the top management shall assign responsibility and authority for ensuring that the quality management system conforms to the requirements of the international standards for ISO 9001. Okay, of course they should ensure that the processes are delivered, okay, the intended outputs. Of course, ensuring that there is a reporting on the performance of the quality management system and the opportunities for improvement. Okay, promoting customer focus throughout the organization and ensuring that the integrity of the quality management system is maintained when changes to the QMS are planned and implemented. Now, you need to assess as an auditor, okay, how the rules and responsibilities are defined and communicated. Okay. Remember, class, that in the previous international standard, the 2008 version, there is a requirement for appointing a management representative. Now, in the latest version, there is no a mandatory requirements of appointing a management representative. Previously, if there is no management representative, that can be a major non-conformity. But now, that is optional. Okay, so the organization may appoint or may not appoint a management representative. Why did they eliminate these requirements? Because they want the top management to, be involved in the implementation of the management system requirements. Okay, so as an auditor, what are the documented information? What documents, what records you wanted to check in conformance to these requirements? Okay, you may wanted to go through and check, of course, the job description of the organization. Okay, the employees. Normally roles and responsibilities are audited and assessed in HR department or to the employee itself. Check the organizational chart of the company. Okay, is there a approved organizational chart? Does the organizational chart is updated Okay, is it latest? Check on this one. Check the job description of the employees. Like say for example, the quality officer of the company, or the employees, the operator, the procurement officer, the supervisor. Do they have job description? Did they acknowledge the job description? Did they presented you a job description? Assess and check. Okay, what is the relevant roles and responsibilities of this person? Is it clearly written, about their requirements? Okay, is there a appointment letter issued to the organization? For example, okay, you are auditing the HR department and they presented you a job description. So I'll give you an example of a job description. Okay, let me open a sample job description. All right, so here, okay, you are auditing HR, okay, and you are asking about the rules and responsibility. So the HR department basically showed you a sample job description. So this is a job description, okay? So as an auditor, it is important to assess, to check whether, the roles and responsibilities of all of the employees are assigned. Is it documented? Is it understood? Okay, and communicated to them. Okay, so we have here one job title, Senior Accounts Executive. Okay, so we have a Senior Account Executive, and the roles and responsibilities are mentioned in the job description. Okay, so this is the responsibilities, this is the duties of the accounts executive. Okay, now, to whom he should report, what is the minimum requirements? Like so for example, the minimum requirement should be 3 years experience. He should be an accountant, okay, and there should have a requirements for either an English or Arabic. Okay, so when they presented you this one, okay, check all of the responsibilities. Okay, so it is documented basically. How the employee understood this? How is this communicated? Okay, you may wanted to check whether the job description is signed by the employee. Okay, as a proof that the job description has been accepted, has been acknowledged by the employee. Okay, so this is an example of a documents that you may need to verify, okay, about job description. Sometimes the roles and responsibilities are documented in a policies, in a procedure. So you may wanted to check where is it documented and how did they implement this one. Okay, the organizational chart, is the organizational chart available? Okay, is it approved? Is it latest as per the current structure of the organization? Okay, so again, as an auditor, when you are asking for a document, there should have a supporting records, like say for example a JD or an organizational chart. So that is the rules, responsibilities, and authorities. Okay, is there a question? Any clarification, Ms. Maria, Ms. Kulud, Ms. Zara, about this clause?
Yeah, to me it's clear.
All clear?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that is for roles, responsibilities, and authorities. Okay. So that is the end of the clause for leadership. Okay. Again, we have 3 clause. Okay, for leadership and for leadership clause, we have clause 5.1, leadership and commitment. Okay, we have customer focus, that's clause 5.1.2. We have the quality policy as a requirement to be established by the top management. And of course, we have the roles, responsibilities, and authorities. Okay, this needs to be uh, defined, by the top management of the organization. Okay. Now, if there is no other question, let us move on to the next clause, which is planning. Okay, so what is planning? In the planning requirements of the international standard class, we have the action to address risk and opportunities. So what is the requirements of risk and opportunities? So when we talk about risk, okay, this is the effect of uncertainty, okay? And the opportunities is the positive side of the risk, okay? Now, what is the requirements of this clause? That the organization to determine the risks and opportunities arising from external and internal contexts, the needs and expectation of interested parties, as well as the processes of the organization. And it is important that they take action to address these risks and opportunities, and they have to integrate the quality management system processes and to evaluate the effectiveness of this action. All right, just a minute, class. Just give me 1 minute. Just 1 minute, please.
Sure.
Take your time.
All right, so sorry about that. Okay, now moving forward to the risks and opportunities. Okay, as an auditor class, you may wanted to understand and check, okay, the risk management process of the organization. Okay, so what is the documented information that you wanted to go through and check with regards to these clause? So the requirement is that, you know, you check the internal and external issues, okay, and the business environment of the organization, because that needs to be determined, that needs to be monitored and reviewed of the organization. Remember that in all of the clauses of the standard, from clause number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, this requires risk management. Okay, like, so for example, uh, HR process. What is the risk in HR? Okay, like, so for example, um, HR procedure is not implemented. If this is not implemented in the organization, there is a risk, right? And if you implemented the HR process, definitely there is an opportunity out of that. Or say, for example, quality policy statement. The top management did not establish a policy statement. What would be the risk of the organization if the policy statement is not available? And if the policy statement is available, what would be the opportunities that the organization will get? Okay, so in each of the uh, processes of the organization, there should have a risk-based thinking. Either is that a process risk assessment, you know, like, say for example, you identify an activity. Okay, what is the undesired outcome? You assess the risk, what is the likelihood, what would be the impact, okay, and then you set control measure and you set a responsibility and what would be the due date. So normally in here, the organization should maintain a risk register to document all of the risks of the organization. And of course, there should have a risk matrix to be used in order to ensure that the uh, risks of the organization are documented. Okay, so for example, as an auditor, when you are doing an audit for this clause, risk management, you may wanted to assess and check whether there is a maintained documented information for risk management. So is there a procedure? Okay, procedure for risk management. So I'll show you an example of a procedure for risk management. Okay, so we have here an example. Let me show you now. All right, now as an auditor, all right, you need to assess the risk management process. Okay, is there a procedure for quality risk management? Okay, look if this procedure is available. Is this approved? Okay, so we have here a sample quality risk management. Okay, now once the auditee presented to you the procedure, you need to verify further, okay, whether the risk management is available, how they are doing the risk management program of the company. Okay, so we have here the risk management program. Okay, they're going to do a risk identification, risk analysis. Okay, they will do the evaluation as well as the risk treatment, and of course monitoring and review. This is how they will do the whole process of risk management of the organization. Now, how this procedure is implemented. So as an auditor, you may need to check, evidence of implementation for this procedure. Check the risk register. Okay, so what are the sample risk register that you can look at? Okay, so as an auditor, of course, okay, so there should have a sample register that you wanted to take a look. So do you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so in here, I am showing you right now a sample quality risk register. Okay, so of course, the register should have a review and approval documents like this. Okay, and there should have a risk matrix. Okay, so we have the risk matrix. This is a risk matrix. Okay, so we have the likelihood and the consequence of the risk. Okay, so you can see the risk register here. All right, so we have the likelihood, like for example, likelihood of 1 to 5, and then we have the summary. Okay, so what would be the impact? Okay, impact means the consequences, customer impact, or whether there is an impact to the operation or a financial related impacts, as well as legal impact. And of course, we have here a sample of a risk matrix and what the organization should do based on the impact. Okay, now the risk register. So in here, we have an example of a process, and then what would be the risk description? What is the impact? Okay, and then we have the risk rating. What would be the likelihood, the impact, the risk score, and the risk level? And you introduce control measure, and then you do again the risk assessment to understand the residual risk. Okay, so we have here an example of a process. Okay, too many process that we have identified here. One process, for example, is poor project planning. When there is a poor project planning, definitely we have as you can see in here, I highlighted the one that I am discussing right now. Okay, and we can see here poor project planning. So when there is a poor project planning, this is definitely a risk in the organization, correct? So what would be the risk description? Either the project will fail, the customer will be dissatisfied, okay, or loss of a business. So what would be the impact? Either customer impact, financial impact, or project operation impact. Okay, likelihood is 3, impact would be 2. Okay, the risk rating is 6, and the level is medium. Okay, this is based on your organization's risk matrix. What would be the control measure for the poor project planning? So key stakeholder meeting shall be conducted before the project starts to understand the project requirements. And there should have scheduling to be planned, to be considered as per the agreed scope. And then they will do the residual risk. Okay, so as you can see in here, class, we have a lot of example process and the risk of each of the process. And as an auditor, you need to go through with this risk register. Okay, for example, another example is poor recruitment process. Okay, we have an example here in number 14. poor recruitment process. This is a HR process. We have a risk like poor recruitment process leads to selection of incompetent candidates and eventually affect the organizational performance. That can be a risk to the organization, right? So you do the risk assessment rating of the likelihood of the consequence. The risk level is 9, what the organization should do as a control measure, okay? And then they will reevaluate again the risk to come up with the residual risk, okay? So what I'm trying to say here is that as an auditor, okay, it is important to assess the risk process of the company, okay, by checking the procedure and how the procedure is implemented in the organization, by looking at the risk register and check how they identify the risk of the company. It could be a risk coming from a HR process or a procurement process or in the operational process, or could be related to training and development, okay, or could be of course an IT related risk of the company, okay, or say for example there is no policies and procedure, what would be the risk, okay? So as you can see in here, all right, in this example register, we have a lot of sample risks, you know, even internal audit, like say for example process for internal audit. What would be the risk for internal audit? Maybe audit schedule not prepared, okay, no cooperation of the auditee during the training, so that can be a risk, okay? So you do the risk assessment exercise based on the likelihood and the consequence, okay, and then of course control measure. All right, so as an auditor you have to look at the records of this risk management. Okay, so is there a question? Any clarification with regards to the clause for risk management? Is
No,
Ms.
no,
Zara
it's
all clear?
but
Okay.
too much details.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a question.
Yes, Ms. Khalud.
They preparing this like this Excel يعني depending on the risk that will happen related to the quality, or depending on what exactly?
Depending on the process of the organization, you know, either
Like it's as an expectation.
yes, exactly. You know, each organization may have different risks depending on their business environment or context, you know, on the process that they have, that could be documented in different template. This is an example of a register that, you know, you may wanted um, to look for during the audit.
Is it an example only, or is it part of the ISO that those are standards we will need to follow to comply with?
So what I'm showing you right now is an example of a quality risk register. Each organization may have a different, you know, process of how they identify the risk and how they document the risk. Okay, and as an auditor, you need to you know, assess, you need to check whether the process is in place, how is this implemented, and what is the evidences of implementation for that risk.
Okay.
Okay, to ensure that the clause 6.1, okay, actions to address risk and opportunities is you know, met, okay, as per the requirements of the standard. All right, any other question?
No.
All right.
No.
So we will post on these requirements for clause 6.1. Okay, we will have a lunch break for 1 hour, and then I'll meet you again at 1:30 in the afternoon. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So see you later at 1:30.
Okay.
Thank you. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Hello, Miss Kulud. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, Miss Kulud. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Are you guys there? Shall we continue the training? All right, so good afternoon, everyone. Miss Kulud, can you hear me? Shall we continue the training now?
Hi, sorry for being late.
No problem, Madam Kulud. It's okay. How are you doing?
Fine, and you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Hope you had a good lunch.
Yeah, Alhamdulillah, thank you.
Great.
What about you?
Yeah, I had. Thank
Yeah.
you. All right, so we can continue now. All right. So let's have the exercises. If you can just please go through the exercises. Let me show you that. Okay, in the exercises, we have here a terms and definition. Okay, so we have a terms and definition, which is the crossword puzzle. Did you print that one for the crossword?
Exercise number 2.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so here in the crossword puzzle, okay, let me just
If you are sharing any document, it is not showing.
just a minute, show that again. All right, there. All right, here. All right, so we have another exercises here. There are terms and definition for quality before we move on to the other classes. Okay, this is very important to discuss actually. Okay, and I wanted you guys to please answer the crossword puzzle. Maybe you have seen this before. Um, we have here the boxes that needs to be filled. All right, we have the question here. Like, say, for example, here, down. Okay, and number 1, a result you intend to achieve. Okay, so the answer is written on the 3rd pages. All you have to do is to choose from here. These are all of the terms. These are all the definitions, and you need to write the terms from here. Okay, like, so for example, for number 1 down, a result to be achieved. What is the answer? NAG, what is 1 down? What is the answer here? If this is the question, a result you intend to achieve. This is called objectives. Okay, so you'll just have to write here O, B, J, objectives. But say, for example, if this is 2 words, okay, like say, for example, we have 2 words here, right? Like documented information. You need to leave the 1 box blank and then move on to the next letter. Okay, for documented, and then leave the 1 blank and then information. So you can write from there. Okay, so this is our exercises for 15 minutes. Okay, Miss Kulud. So and then after we will explain these terms and definition relevant to the requirements of the international standard. All right, so any question, Miss Kulud?
No, clear.
Clear?
Yeah, clear.
Okay, great. So the time now is 1:40. We will discuss by 15 minutes after. Thank you. Do you have the printout with you for all of these 3 pages?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay, very good.